Hello, Neocron runners, and welcome to the very first guide of Neocron Meta. And this one is dedicated to the passive PSI user, the PPU. And before diving into the build, we are going to talk about the recent updates. There were two, one in October, one in November, that are going to affect the way that we are building our PPU. In October, the strength of the self-cast shields were buffed and the strength of the foreign cast shields were nerfed. And the hack malus that was previously found on the walk PSI gloves were also removed, so that is a buff. And in November, we've had the addition of the two new red branded Pathfinder missions, which are rewarding the Explorer Knowledge CPU, which we'll be incorporating in our build. So let's start with the build. First off, brain implants. We are going to be using the Crunch Sport Core CPU and the Defender V3 and V2 for PPU skill. And then we have switched from the Freedom Fighter to a Explorer's Knowledge CPU, which is going to bring us a lot of quality of life as well as speed in our build. We are using the Terrain Analyzer GPU V1. This is for the Athletics +7. We are not using the Psychic Power Max V3 because it takes away hacking and does not really provide any meaningful bonuses. We are then using the Cyberheart V1. This is to offset the switch from the Freedom Fighter CPU. We have the Walk Glove, so you're going to want to have the Wisdom of Ceres level 1 for this build. And then we are using the Reflex Booster V2, which we switch from a V1, and this is because the Explorer Knowledge CPU allows us to put this implant on and then use it without the need of drugging. And of course we want to have the full set of the Apparition Bones. This is due to the fact that the monk only have access to this or the basic strength bone set, which is not worth it. Moving on to the armor, we are using, of course, the Wisdom of Ceres Silver Power Armor. If you have the gold, you can use that as well. And we're using a mix between the Crown Blessed set and the Light Kevlar set. We are using the Light Kevlar because this is again to offset the switch from the FF CPU, so then we are compensating with more armor value for poison and fire. In terms of buff, we're going to be using on ourselves the Holy Hazard Resist Booster and the Spy Booster for the agility and the hacking bonuses. In terms of drug, we are not using any, however feel free to pop a Serum Deribat X40 if you feel like it, which provides +12 athletics. This is a 10-minute drug, or you could go with the Paracetamol X40 for some extra health, or you could actually pop both if you're really in danger. However, I don't think these drugs are really necessary, but they could come in clutch if you feel like you need to survive against 4 or 5 people shooting at you. Then we move on to the protection part, which is pretty important for this build because we are casting, of course, the Holy Shields on ourselves, so we are benefiting from what is called the Self-Cast Holy Shields bonus. This bonus currently with the build is set at 77.750%. And so this is what we would be using to define the damage reduction in our build, as we can see in here. Alright, let's dive into the skills. So we are going to start off with intelligence, in which you're going to want to have 100 in hacking and the rest in PSI use. 100 in hacking is so that we can reach 115 with bonuses. In here it says 95, but the malus on the glove at this time of recording hasn't been removed, so we are effectively sitting at 115 with the bonuses, and the rest can be done through PSI use. A note regarding PSI use: you want to have 131 at a minimum, so if you go under 131, your shields are going to become foreign cast instead of self-cast, and this is going to make you take a whole lot more damage. So this means that effectively we could run this build as low as 75 intelligence, just to show you here that we add 100 in hacking, we dump the rest in PSI use, and we are sitting at 131 with 115. So, but if you do have your intelligence capped, then I advise to actually dump the rest in PSI use, so you have better managed regen and a bigger mana pool. Also, please note that you can technically run with 115 an implant, but that will set you off at a really low hacking value and the need to use Delvin skin. In my opinion, you should have your own implanter on another character, on another account, so I am not going to try and fit this in here. In terms of strength, as the build title suggests, we are reaching 90% damage reduction everywhere. So I have put 53 points in force and piercing to reach those values. We are helped, of course, by the apparition bonus set to add some bonuses in force, and dump the rest in transport so that we have 40 with bonuses. This is coming from the new Explorer Knowledge CPU bonus, plus 14 in transport. This means that we're going to be transporting more PSI booster than we used to, but we're also going to be able to use medkits even to try and heal faster in case we are under attack. So for the Constitution, nothing special in here. We are trying to reach 90% again on all of our resists, and the rest will be going into athletics and health. So in terms of athletics, we are higher than the previous build with the Freedom Fighter CPU, because we were sitting at around 40 before. Now we are at 63. This means that with more speed, we are also we have a higher chance to survive. And as for the point investment, we are not going over 50 in any category, which is how to maximize your build, because if you invest points over 50, they're going to cost 2 points per 1 point investment. In terms of dexterity, you want to have full agility in here. You can, if you want, actually get rid of some agility and put it in recycle or even vehicle use if you want to, because 160 is already a lot of agility. However, the more the better. And finally, in our PSI section, we are reaching 282 in PPU. This is a threshold for our heal. So if I go into the spells, the Holy Heal at 282 is going to run at a 38 per tick rate. And this means that under this, so at 281 for instance, we would be at 37. So we want to have 282 exactly. So the rest is the focusing for the spell requirements, and you will have quite a lot of PSI power coming from the apparition set so that you have a bigger mana pool. Okay, welcome to the gear portion part of the build. So first off, we're going to start with the shields. You have protection, deflection, and absorption. So the red is for fire and poison, white is for force and piercing, and then you have blue for X-ray and energy. You also will be using, of course, the Holy Heal, which sits at 38 per tick. As we explained, we are rocking a build with 282 in PPU. This will heal a target for an overall of 570 on average. So you always want to cast the heal as a headshot wherever possible. Next up, we have the two buffs. So we have the Spy 3 and the Hazard Resist Booster 3. So everybody pretty much builds for upfights around these buffs. So the Spy is useful for the additional hacking and agility, and the Hazard Resist Booster is just useful overall for the additional health, X-ray, and poison resist. In terms of other gear, you have the PSI Booster 4 and Survival Kit V2 if you can afford to run the daily mission. Otherwise, you can use the PSI Booster version 3 or the Survival Kits. And the Stamina Booster, whenever you get attacked, you can put that in your belt. Next up, we have the more offensive type of spells. So as a PPU, you'll also be serving as a support for damage. So in this case, for instance, you can noob cast a heal onto the target, so you can apply a weaker heal on the target. So if you actually apply this, and then another PPU tries to heal the target, this is not going to replace it. So this means that a weaker heal is going to keep running on the target, and you'll be able to take it down. Be careful though, because this heal, however, is a group heal, so you might actually heal yourself with it, or your allies, so they might also be under this low TL heal influence. we have the same scenario with the protector, absorber, and deflector, which are the low-level version, which you recast on the target, and then they will be taking more damage. We also have the Holy Parashock. This is a spell that I sometimes use to slow down the targets. So you just cast it once, the target will be slowed down, and then if they get shot in the leg specifically, they'll become really slow and it will be very hard for them to escape damage. And then we have the damage boost. The damage boost is currently only taking about 40 mana, but this is going to get changed to about 200. And you want to cast this repeatedly on your target, as more cast will equal more damage. So the more PPUs you have, the more you can apply this debuff and technically put the target down faster. Next up, we have the support buffs. So these are all your combat buffs. So your pistol, heavy, PSI, and rifle buff. Of course, you can also keep the melee buffs and the drone buffs around if you have that on your team. So this would just boost their fighting skills, which is very important. You have the Holy Restoration, typically used in PvE scenarios. They can actually also be used to heal targets in upfighting, and this is specifically useful when the target is actually crouching. So whenever you will cast this heal, the target will gain more health back, and the ticks will apply more when the target is crouching. And then finally we have the resurrection spell. So this one is to be used whilst moving. You don't want to be really trying to res in a fixed position. You always want to be dancing around maybe a wall or out in the open, or you can try to actually res a target from a sneaky spot, so you can start casting and then hide during the cast, so that you may not be noticed during the whole res process. And then finally, you of course want to carry around your hack tool for outpost hacking. So in terms of little tips and tricks, the first one I would give out is the processor spell switching. So whenever you need to switch spell, you actually wouldn't need to drag it all the way to your inventory and then replace it like so. You could actually put it in the processor and then directly switch it out. So this is very useful when you have to give out different kind of buffs. Also, as a PPU, you of course want to make sure that at all times you have your shields up, so you don't get surprise attacked or surprise nuke buffed, and of course with a heal running. Also, one tip is that don't take unnecessary risks. So this means that if you feel like you're gonna get under attack, you can actually directly run around structures like so, and that will make it way harder for the opponent to hit you. So you want to do like little tricky moves like this, and then try to run around and just basically use cover to be able to escape the damage. A little trick also during upfight, when you're defending, you can actually take the hack tool, and this will be a job that is up to a PPU. Mostly because they can resist the most, so you can go to the hack term and then activate the hack, but then directly cancel it and then just run away. This will freeze the hack term for about 30 seconds. And that's the end of this guide. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys learned something new. I'm sorry it was a bit long, but we had a lot to cover since this was for the PPU. I promise the next ones will be much shorter. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more coverage on everything build related. I hope you guys have a nice one. Till next time.